our virtual newsroom. My name is Amina Mohammed. I'm the communications officer. And with me is, let me let him introduce himself.
Okay, my name is Eta Michael.
Okay, I will, over time, chip in and out as the conversation go on. Last week, Thursday, we had our interactive section where most of us introduced ourselves. And I also gave out some, would I call it a talking point, or I gave out some materials where we could go back home, read, and have a better understanding of what we do here at Follow the Money, so that our meeting today will enable us to talk more, ask questions, and the way forward. Moving on, I would like to start with what is Follow the Money. We track funds meant for community. We track funds that are meant for communities. When I mean communities, rural communities. We advocate, visualize, track funds for various communities. I'm sure you must be asking, what kind of funds do we track? Capital projects in the areas of health, environment, and education. So when I say we track funds, it's not that any funds that come to mind or any project. We have our specific areas, which are education. So any funds meant for the educational sector, we track it. It's the same thing with the health sector and the environmental sector. I'm sure your next question is this. We have specific, and our specific is national government, states, government, or local government, international aid organizations. So these are the two areas where we track funds from. Any funds coming from the government or international aid. Why are we doing this? You know, before you start up something, there must always be a reason for doing something. I always say there are always end products to everything you want to start in life. Even when you wake up, before you tell yourself that, okay, this is what I want to achieve, the same thing with us. So we are doing this because we want to give narrative of how funds do not reach rural communities and tell the story. Like I initially said when we started, I was trying to explain what money we follow. And I said the areas we follow are health, education, and environment. So I'll just give you a little breakdown of the three. When I say health, what I mean is we are tracking funds for money for surgical equipment, drugs, vaccines, and health buildings. I think these are the basic things you need in the health sector. So we track funds in these areas. Moving further, I also mentioned education. Under education, I can't say we are tracking everything under the educational sector, so we just picked specific, which is money for books, classrooms, libraries, teaching aids. Environment, we're also tracking funds for boreholes, drainages, clean cook stoves, cleanups, and tree plantings. Now, when we talk about sources of information on money we follow, what get as far necessary or visible to get your sources from. We talk about the media, which I think it's a very, very strong source of information, and we listed list of few medias that we think are important or credible. Let me use the word credible. We talk of in TV, we say channels. I'm sure channels is everywhere, and you and I would agree that they are very, very credible. NTA, which is nationwide. Moving from TV, move down to online, which is accessible once you have network anywhere you are. And under the online media, we talk of Sahara Reporters, Premium Times. Those two are very credible and are reachable once you have access to the internet. Then radio, I think everybody around the country, if I may say, should have a radio. Even if you cannot buy, you can't go to the market and buy. I think more than that, on our phones, even our Nokia phones, we have advices from and then print is a newspaper. Really trust and yeah, various communities. I would so also most popular and pay okay, the breaking transmission. Like I said, we get our information from budget office, which is .me, tender, World Bank, okay, yeah. So moving forward, products for our distribution channels, because at the end of the day, we really want to be heard. The essence of us doing this is not just going out there doing whatever we're doing, following this money, tracking the funds, coming back to our offices, and either keeping it in our office. We need to get this information out. We need to let the public know, know what we are doing. So the products we are thinking of, photos of good and bad infrastructures. Remember when I said health, we talk of building infrastructures. So if you on your end could try as much as possible and get these pictures, it will help us a long way to get this information out there. A 5-minute documentary of whatever it is we are doing. For instance, if we're talking about health again, and then we're talking of surgical equipment, we could walk into these hospitals, do a brief documentary. Nigeria, and a lot of people must have died due to one ailment or the other. And then if you find out they don't have enough surgical equipment in Nigeria, just the big men who have such funds and they travel out. So what happens to the masses? Frequent press releases, which we do at our end, write press releases, which I would say they're like up they have done so far. So we get them out to the public. Weekly features on our blog page. You all know we have a blog page and we write our weekly stories. These weekly features, we're specific on what we do, not just waking up in the morning and writing, okay, I went out, this was what I saw. It has to be in the areas where I mentioned earlier on when I newly started. And also our monthly online magazine, sound bites and interviews. Interviews, which I take very key. I take interview very key because that's where you have people who are speaking either from what they've gone through or what they've seen around their environment. I would also like to ask what other products you think we can get our information out aside from this that I have listed. To be more specific, our distribution channels, like I said, media, we don't joke with media. The TV, NTA, and AIT. We mentioned this NTA and AIT because it's everywhere. you can get it everywhere. Online again, Sahara Reporters, Premium Times, Nice.com, Neraland, Medium.com, Soundcloud.com. And of course, thanks to social media as fast as possible. And on the social media, we have the Facebook, Twitter handle, and monthly newsletters. Radio, again, we were specific in terms of radio. Wazobia FM, as the name implies, is everywhere. Nigerian Igbo, BBC Hausa, and Amplified. Prints, we have Touch and Guardian. Why we actually listed this specific is because this is where we think it's easily accessible, and it's. But in that light, also in your own state, I'm sure you would have most watched TV station, most read newspapers, or most listened radio stations. So I would encourage us to list out names of TV stations, radios, and the likes of it. Before I go on, I would also want us to throw in questions in everything I've listed, because it's supposed to be like an interactive section, not just me talking and talking and talking and talking and talking. So if you have questions, please fill in your questions.